Everyone knows that history began in 1983 with the release of Nintendo's Famicom, but much like real history, things only got cool when the artist showed up. 2015 brought with it the first Splatoon game, and ever since then my world has been filled with things like colour, life, joy, and other things I'm making up off the top of my head because things have been horrible since 2015. But that's not the point I'm trying to make here. If I wanted to be depressed in 2015, I'd be a Pikmin fan. Quick explanation, I've had that one in the joke bank since like 2017. Speaking of Pikmin though, Splatoon was Nintendo's first new IP created since Miyamoto's little plant-based Pokemon knockoffs, so it was a big deal for the company. A family-friendly third-person shooter, a concept that when merged seems doomed to fail, but Nintendo against all odds made it work, and Splatoon is now a part of Nintendo's big four. I'm not making it up. Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, Splatoon. They're the best sellers on Nintendo's consoles. And today, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about as much as I physically can, even if it might kill me or someone else, because this game deserves as much as I can give it. And while I might not cover everything, because I'm only human, I think, I just love this series, and I want to give it everything I've got. So, this is why Splatoon is Nintendo's greatest ever series. So, you want to make a new IP for your struggling home console. First of all, just gotta let you know, bad idea. Second of all, the birth of Splatoon began in mid-2013 as a side project nurtured by a single Animal Crossing developer. I love games that have a story like this. One plucky game dev made something minor, completely on the side, and it ended up sprawling into a multi-million unit selling series. That side project was a simple 4v4 territory control 3D game that would eventually become the trademark turf war we see across the series to this day. Oh, this is just like the turf wars I end up engaging in too! I don't think they have live grenades on Splatoon though. Approval to develop a prototype into a full game was granted in late 2013, with the Nintendo Entertainment Analysis and Development Division, or Nintendo EAD, as any normal person would say, getting to work on it. With the core gameplay concept nailed, the only thing left to do now was pick a suitable character design to spearhead the series. How hard could that be? Oh, I get to guess! Tofu! Round 2, rabbits. Everyone loves rabbits, right? Was that buzzer for the rabbit's guess, or because I said everyone loves rabbits? That doesn't answer my question. Mario characters? Oh my god, robots? Men? Big buff men? I don't know, it could be anything at this point. Oh, for f***'s sake. The decision to stick with humanoid squids as the main species of Splatoon, legally dubbed the Inkling, opened up what I think is probably the definition of objective best. As in, the objective best part of the entire game, the movement mechanics. It's the whole gimmick. Hold on ZL to turn into squid form is used to swim in the ink, hooray, you just made your game playable. Traversal this adds to maps is just, quite frankly, insane, and it would be horrible to play the game without it, which makes sense considering the game was designed around swimming. Inkable walls for you to swim up, cubes that expand based on your ink that you can jump into, ink-based zip lines, the entire traversal system is designed around your ink, and it just adds a whole other dimension to using your weapons, because every weapon sprays ink in some regards. Hell, even just jumping off of a wall will track some ink on the ground. I don't know how else to describe it other than it makes the ink mechanics feel worth it. This really does feel like a world that incorporates ink into its world. The inhabitants use ink for recreational activities, for practical use, spraying it across the walls, along the floors. It really just helps the world feel lived in, you know?
That's dumb.
What the f***, Birch Goebbels, how long have you been there?
I sort of just live here now, you never even noticed me.
I played through New Super Mario Bros. U before, it was alright, but just didn't you like actually die last time I saw you though?
Why is there an active grenade in your flower bed?
I lost a limb, my prized strand of hair. Can you believe it? My prized strand of hair?
I'm kind of in the middle of something. Can we get back to this? Just before we make like turtles and enter the sewers, we get a short introduction from our newscasters, Callie and Marie, otherwise known as the Squid Sisters, the Squid Cousins that call themselves Sisters, Asian 1 and 2. I wasn't supposed to read that one out loud. I need to stop reading from a teleprompter. Okay, whatever. The Zapfish has been stolen! It powers the entire city of Inkopolis, and without it, we're all going to lose electricity forever. Riots in the streets! But take your time going to hunt for it. I don't know, no pressure or whatever. Anyways, for the reasons mentioned above, we'll head straight into the sewers, meet Cuttlefish, become a blorbo, and get started on the hunt, because this bando right here is Octo Valley. There is nothing but kettles and old people here. For someone like me, right up my alley.
You're sick.
Octo Valley is the location for our first single player campaign. We all serve under probably the less than watchful, let's be honest, he's pushing 150. eye of Cap and Cuttlefish, who fought in the Great Turf War over 100 years ago. Funniest part of Splatoon has to be that the main online mode is based on a century-old historical war against an opposing species. That's like us basing an entire sport around something that happened in World War 1. Oh wait, that's actually what happened. He re-explains to us, now Agent 3 by the way, no nameless protagonists in my Splatoon, we make vague self-inserts that get limited canonical personality traits, thank you very much. But the Zapfish has been stolen by a species known as the Octarians. We race through each level after tracking down the respective kettle entrants in each world map. They're all invisible until you ink them enough, then you just slide in, beat the kettle, unlock the boss kettle, beat the boss kettle, onto the next world, rinse, repeat, game over. I brushed over that like it was nothing, comedic effect pays the bills and that, but it's genuinely a good gameplay loop. It helped me create my own fun by using the ink mechanics to explore the world map outside the level, and no kettle was ever a real pain to find regardless, so it was never a massive deal to take a few minutes to find the next stage.
This one's a bitch.
Put that back! Oh my god!
Playing around in each hub, hunting for kettles, sort of acted like a level itself, and playing the actual stages isn't half bad either. Some have described it sort of like Super Mario Galaxy, with the levels floating in the middle of nothing that you jump between. I threw up in my mouth a little reading that. Those comparisons should, and thankfully do, end right there. Each level has a good spread of unique enemies, like the Octo Trooper, the Shielded Octo Trooper, the Twinticle Octo Trooper.
This is the worst set of examples I've ever been given. They all belong to the Octarian family, a rival species that got ostracized over 100 years ago due to losing the Great Turf War.
Yee, she'll probably be as dead as a dodo if they can just keep that up.
Okay, dude, are you like on a mission to be my unfunny little psychic here? My little scrappy dude? You wanna be my little scrappy dude?
Wow, okay, ignore that, we need to get back on track. Back to enemies. Octolings exist! TLDR, imagine Inklings, but octopuses. That's it, that's the only change. They're also really good at combat though. There's this one recurring level type focused on Octolings that offers a decent bit of variety between the regular platforming / shooting hybrid levels. I mean, overall, the levels here, well, like I said, not half bad. I also wouldn't push myself to call them mind-blowing, but I think that's only because the sequels have outshone them mostly. Like in 2015, this probably rocked. This was probably the shit. But today they're only like great.
Oh god, it's only another example of Nintendo's outstanding level design. God, give me something good for a change. You dare bring that shit into my house?
There isn't a whole lot to do other than progress through the level, but you can go hunting for a sunken scroll, which has a bit of lore to the game, which is neat. Kind of like the comet medals on Super Mario Galaxy 2. Or like literally any other collectible from any game. Stop. Don't compare it to Galaxy.
Oh, Cuttlefish got kidnapped while he denied the Mario Galaxy 2 allegations, by the way.
Stop, what? No he didn't. Oh, f*** off.
Cuttlefish got squidnapped. Sorry. His granddaughters, Agent 1 and 2, take over. These guys totally aren't Callie and Marie from the Squid Sisters, by the way. What makes you say that? I've never said that. I would never reveal their identities too early. That's not me. Real talk, they guide us through the rest of the levels just how Cuttlefish did. Realistically, it's only to raise the stakes a little as the story approaches the conclusion, but they have good banter, so...
Alright, hear me out. Is it really necessary to rescue an 128-year-old?
After collecting countless Zapfish, counting your countless Zapfish and realizing there's only like 16, and fighting your way through hundreds of enemies that almost all have a name that begins at Octo, must be a weird family tradition, we arrive at our final destination. The Octobot King. It's a really cool boss. It's got missiles you have to dodge, extending fists to shoot back as your primary form of damage, and a killer whale! I'll save you the gory details. Killer whale is a very overpowered multiplayer special weapon, and now you have to deal with it on tiny thin platforms. But there's actually no worries. Agent 1 and 2 are here in the flesh as Callie and Marie, and they override the sound system to play the song Calamri Inkantation.
Okay, I know it sounds like just a song, but just listen, okay? It's got like magical properties or something.
Dude, yeah? This is hot shit.
Obviously, gameplay-wise, this does nothing, but lore-wise, this is the catalyst for a few events. It turns a bunch of Octarians and Octolings over to the Inkling side after watching the fight play out live, and the song reappears in the finale of every main campaign going forwards. We'll pretend it was actually the thing that gave the real me the final push to beat Octavio. Roll credits, first Splatoon is down and out. I have a little soft spot for the original Splatoon. I'm not going to deny it at all. Agent 3 and Octo Valley keep me from leaving a pillow over my head while I sleep and letting nature run its course. But I'm also not going to sit here and pretend that it's the pinnacle of the series. It's a solid run and gun platformer. The phrase laid the groundwork for the rest of the series is overused, but it sort of justifies it here. A solid base that all the sequel needed to do was build upon. And hopefully expand slightly. That was a quick turnaround. Splatoon 2 was revealed to the public in the Nintendo Switch presentation back in January of 2017. Just a small little gathering, you know, Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, and who could forget EA Sports saying, yeah, Nintendo, we'll get back to you, I pinky promise.
Whoa, dude. You know Splatoon 2 is shot in a Nintendo Switch reveal trailer, right?
Oh, dude, you know what?
Yeah?
I don't care.
Gameplay looked absolutely identical. Just what I wanted. There's a new dual-firing weapon class, the Dualies, okay. Oh, and there's a whole new mode, Salmon Run. 4-player co-op where it's nothing but you, your friend, your other friend, your other friend, a random weapon, and the open seas throwing salmonoids at you. Little ravenous beast, surely they'll never be important. They did another global test fire, who cares, let's get started. We once again have an opening news broadcast giving us an update on the situation. The exact same situation as last time. Say goodbye to the Great Zapfish.
Not actually.
Our story is now set in Inkopolis Square and Octo Canyon, two new locations that are basically the exact same as Inkopolis and Octo Valley. The Great Zapfish is here, the Great Zapfish is not here, never mind. With Callie and Maria here, oh for f***'s sake. Pearl is a short inkling and Marina is a tall, totally an inkling, not an octoling in disguise. She's an inkling. Once we're done with all of that unskippable nonsense, we head to the sewers and there's a woman there! Marie, formerly Agent 2, still kind of Agent 2, in fact still definitely Agent 2. Don't know why I said formerly Agent 2, that doesn't make sense, she's not the captain. Captain Cuttlefish and Agent 3 are out doing something mysterious. And while they've been away, Marie's opposite number, Callie, has been squid-napped. I'm not even going to justify that pun with a castaway. Long story short, Marie was picked as the best squid sister during the final Splatfest in Splatoon 1, which caused them to break apart and lead Callie to the Octarians. We don't know she works for them yet, but it's kind of obvious and it only becomes more obvious as the game progresses. Somehow, at the ripe old age of 19 years old, Marie isn't capable of putting down the umbrella and going through Octo Canyon herself, and since Agent 3 has gone fishing, our new playable character is Agent 4.
I'm up.
See, the thing about liking the agent characters in Splatoon is a lot of it comes down to Nintendo's artwork on their official social medias and fan-created content. Don't say fandom, don't say fandom, don't say fandom, don't say fandom. I enjoy scrolling through art of the agents and the almost phantom personalities they've developed, but then you actually go to play the game, just the game and nothing else, and all you're left with is two facial expressions during a cutscene and an offhand line from Marie. Not to take away from anything the fans have created, the exact opposite. It's genuine whiplash going through some of the amazing fan content and characterization some people have come up with, and then being hit with... Beyond that, we receive our hand-me-down hero gear, probably hasn't been washed since the dawn of time.
1983?
Realise our boots are labelled as snow boots for some reason. Why did Nintendo do that? There's no snow in Octo Canyon, and move to beat the first world. This is Splatoon 1 with a bit of spice.
In fact, I'd argue a lot of this game just feels like a fresh coat of paint on top of Splatoon 1. Octo Canyon instead of Octo Valley. Marie Cuttlefish instead of Captain Cuttlefish.
DJ Octavio instead of DJ Octavio.
Right, see, now you're getting it. It just feels like well, I don't want to say a rush job, but it just feels more like an afterthought.
This stretches throughout the rest of the campaign too. We're chasing after a kidnapped character, receiving little text-based transmissions after beating every boss, collecting Zapfish, rescuing the Great Zapfish, beating DJ Octavio at the end. This feels like Splatoon 1 but Mad Libs. And gameplay-wise, we're about on par with Splatoon 1 too, though the new elements they added are undeniably appreciated. Ride rails are like the next evolution of ink rails, where instead of having to swim across them, Agent 4 can grind and jump across them. It's really cool to jump off one, okay? Give me a break. And bounce pads are like trampolines, and you only have to hold B instead of timing your B press to get a big jump. That is a hugely underappreciated feature that doesn't get spoken about at all.
Dude, I think you're objectively right, but I think you're a loser who just likes bouncy castles.
Aside from those, I don't think we're really reinventing the wheel here. Except for Sheldon. He owns the weapon store in all three Splatoons, but serves the unique purpose in Splatoon 2 of giving us a new hero weapon type to play at level with. Sheldon! Some levels will let you use your own choice of weapon, but on your first playthrough, Sheldon will request you use a specific type to collect some data on, which is all fine and happy when he's handing me the hero dualies, but then he gives me the hero blaster and I'm all f this guy. I actually hope he dies. Sheldon!
Once you clear Octo Canyon for the first time, you can use any weapon on any stage whatsoever, and if you end up rebeating the entire game with one specific weapon type, you'll unlock its hero variant in multiplayer. If that makes any sense.
I'm gonna play this game twice.
Aside from that, most of the levels just blend into each other. The main ones sticking out in my mind are Octo Zeppelin Invasion, because the environment looked kinda cool, the Octo Galaxy, because the environment really did look cool, and the Experimentorium, because it was a f***ing to do with a blaster. But I'm pretty self-aware, and I can tell, again, kind of suffering from the ability of hindsight here. The mere existence and knowledge of future entries in the series dwarfs the quality of previous games. Which isn't fair, I know, because these are, for the most part, top quality Nintendo shooting platforming hybrid stages. They deserve their flowers, but I just struggle to really rate them when, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, this could be so much better.
Just stop talking about it, bird brain. Play something else.
I just love this series so much. I can't just stop playing 2 because I want to play Octo Expansion. I'm trying to talk about them all here.
But you're so good. That's what us normal people do.
It's weird to try and give a full, balanced review of a series I like.
No. Normal people don't play Splatoon in the first place.
You're the one sticking around to watch. Hell, you're playing it right now.
Well, my fault you gorilla glued my hands to this Switch.
Oh, right, I guess you really are sticking around. But just go do something else. Go do something productive, like anything productive. Surely you have things to do, right? You have errands to run. Literally anything.
Jesus Christ, let's give him a minute.
Our big bad of Splatoon 2, stop me if you've heard this one before, is DJ Octavio. And Callie Cuttlefish. Again, she's been brainwashed / potentially willingly brainwashed into serving under DJ Octavio and fighting for the Octarians. But I mean, aside from that, the boss fight is more like an evolution of a Splatoon 1 Octobot King. It's set in an open arena like the other bosses, which makes it a lot easier in my opinion. There are some different attacks, some removed attacks that I do not miss. Killer whale! But we still fire fists back at Octavio, he still falls out, we still shoot him up. This is really the major crack that showed in Octo Canyon for me, because like I said, this just feels like a fresh coat of ink.
Oh my god, stop with the squid puns, I get it, they're squids!
However, I will give a boss fight this. It ends on a massive high. Marie and Sheldon pull up and shoot Callie in the face with a sniper. Nothing dodgy going on here, which finally snaps her out of her trance and reforms the Squid Sisters. They play Calamri Inkantation again to pump up Agent 4, which clearly works because this is the last 60 seconds of the entire fight. Moving into the final phase, Sheldon performs his best act of the entire game, barring his fangirling over the return of the Squid Sisters of course, and gives us the Rainmaker. This is a weapon from the multiplayer ranked mode Rainmaker, sort of like an escort mode where you need to place the Rainmaker onto the enemy's base. Not important though, look at me go! We go down this grind rail, shoot at Octavio, and then jump onto this new rail. Then Marie tells Agent 4 jump, so we jump and we do the same animation from the multiplayer mode, and it shows as a victory just like from the multiplayer. It's the best. Splatoon 2, I have sympathy for it. It's a good campaign, and even if we finally pull back the lens and judge it as a complete package, it's a great Splatoon game too. But the more time goes on, the more I think about it, the more I play free, the more I realise this was a rush game. There were roughly 2 years between the release of Splatoon 1 on Wii U and the release of Splatoon 2 on Nintendo Switch. I think the devs' main priority was getting something Splatoon related onto Nintendo's new device, and that was a good plan. It paid off, we got DLC and a third sequel that's also getting DLC and yada yada yada, but this campaign sort of suffered for the bigger picture, sadly. I do appreciate it, but I also just feel it blending together with Splatoon 1 more and more as time goes on, which it doesn't deserve. But with all the similarities, how couldn't I?
I'll always appreciate Splatoon 2.
I won't.
It's flawed, and by process of elimination, it's probably my 3rd / 4th favourite Splatoon game.
That's contradictory.
But even through all of that,
Love and tough love.
I still like playing.
I didn't.
You know what? That f***ing does it. Pissing around with slime, insulting my beliefs in Santa, now insulting me every step of the way while I just talk about my interests. Why are you even here?
Do what I always do. Be a little nuisance, a little devil's advocate, a little devil on your shoulder maybe.
That's for weirdos in history class, not for actual friendships. Are we even friends at this point?
I think you just gotta lighten up a little bit, dude.
I swear to God, Bruhcodes, you've been nothing but a thorn in my side for this past year. A little weed in my garden. You know what we do to weed?
Cut it out.
Smoke it.
This kills my high! Yikes! How's Bruhcodes getting out of this slimy situation?
Stop making stupid jokes for the wall. That's my thing. I'm the delusional one here. That's my Monday thing. Get out of my Monday. No, f the title card. I killed him. He's dead. He's proper dead. Yeah, he's bounced back before, but I didn't see the body. If you don't see the body, then they aren't really dead. That's the golden rule. Why did I peek over the window? And it's not like I really wanted him dead. He is my friend. We were like a duo, like yin and yang. He was my trusty sidekick. He was my Sheldon.
I gotta cope somehow. If only there was some form of comfort media I could talk about easily that could cheer me up. Did you know they f***ed up Splatoon 2 so bad they had to go back and fix it? Hyperbole, Jesus Christ, don't lose your heads. March 8th, 2018 turned out to be a pretty big day for Splatoon. It was the day before my birthday too, just thought people would want to know. One more thing, Inklings in a white level, oh wait, Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Switch. But before that, we got our first look at Octo Expansion, a fully new campaign releasing as $20 DLC for Splatoon 2 later that summer. I was overjoyed.
Killing someone makes you desperate, okay? I'm desperate. I'm desperate!
Not only because this trailer kicked absolute ass, I mean just look at it. New Octoling agent, pink hair, Cuttlefish in a tracksuit, Pearl and Marina being involved. Everything from the characters shown to the environments teased was super interesting. And new! It was all new! Finally free from the shackles of Octo Valley and Canyon. This felt like the narrative the developers wanted to make as a base campaign, but didn't get the chance to fully realise. And ultimately, it wasn't that long of a wait either, releasing as a $20 DLC pack for the game and later being added to the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass tier.
God, fine, I'm persuaded. I'll get rid of some of this post-killing stress by buying the expansion pass.
Instead of turning left to go down a sewer with a woman, we turn right and head down to the shady metro station instead, or our playable character, who I guess is still technically Agent 4, listens in. Random point, I find it really funny to imagine that the entire time during Octo expansion, Agent 4 is just there listening in on the whole thing from beginning to end. Just picture it, it's hilarious. Anyways, after customizing our character, Captain Cuttlefish wakes us up and, since we're without our memories, tries to fill us in on what happened. TLDR, Octoling was fighting Agent 3, everyone fell into the metro, 3 is nowhere, but the Octoling was humming that Calamri Inkantation song, so unlike the allies. After a brief introduction level, we both find our way to the main platform and meet this weird looking telephone dude who speaks in slang, but still finds us a way to give us the worst nickname ever.
Agent 3, Agent 4, applicant 10,008. I've been debating this for a while, but I think it's finally time for me to brush up on my times tables.
I'm only kidding, Cuttlefish nicknames from Agent 8.
I still need to brush up on my times tables.
The phone offers us a chance to journey to the promised land, i.e. normal society, something I really need to get back to at some point. To do so, we're going to need to collect all 4 fangs to create the device, which are scattered somewhere along the metro lines, which acts as a nice getting off point for our next topic of discussion. Holy shit, this is so much better. Everything is so much better. League's better. Like, actually, it's just so clear. This is a full sequel to Splatoon 1. This should have launched with the game. I refuse to believe this wasn't intended to launch in place of 2's campaign. And not to devalue 2's campaign, because like I've said, it's solid, I do like it, and it's only really placing last out of process of elimination. But oh my god, this is just so much better. It's actually disgusting.
Octo expansion is just... it's just so f***ing clear. It's that much clear of Splatoon 1 and 2. Honestly, I'm not trying to exaggerate here. I really do just think that Octo expansion is that much better than the first 2 games.
For starters, down with the kettles, in with the metro line system. Beating each level allows you to progress further down the line until you reach 2 lines of crossover, because that will unlock a whole new line for you to discover. The 4 fangs you need to collect to get back to the surface and beat the final boss are spread out across these lines. So unless you're being a stupid wet soggy crybaby and looking up the quickest routes, this is the game's way of forcing exploration and actually playing through a variety of levels. And it works so well, because all the levels are f***ing amazing!
God, there is so much to discuss. I haven't even gotten into the point system yet, the level design, the weapon kits, Pearl and Marina. Pearl and Marina!
Ring ring, Pearl and Marina, oh sorry, where are my manners? MC Princess and DJ Hyperfresh. Pearl and Marina join us in trying to escape the metro system, after rap battling a 130-year-old, of course. This series really is the fucking best. You can find a bunch of extra conversations between Cuttlefish and the girls by looking through their chat logs, and it's a pretty good read. Help me grieve. Oh my goodness, God, this is so funny. And having rich adoptive parents looking out for you over the phone comes with its benefits. See, every level in Octo expansion is locked behind a paywall. No, not that kind of paywall. You already pay $20 for your game. Calm it. CQ points earned from beating levels are used to pay to play levels. Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I squid bag on company time. And that's also where Pearl comes in. If you run out of points, her rich dad will bail you out. So it's no big deal, but also a very funny in-game explanation for what happens if you wind up in debt. But anyways, going back to that point system, different amounts of CQ points are awarded based on what weapon kit you choose.
Oh my god. That's just what Splatoon 2 did, but better!
This decision, I think, single-handedly brought Splatoon up another stage. Each level, but by the way, there's a lot of stages in Octo Expansion. Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2 both have a meaty 27 stages, including the bosses. Octo Expansion has 80 levels! There's just under 3 Splatoon 2s in every Octo Expansion, and the levels in Octo Expansion are just, and I cannot stress this enough, so much better. The unique challenges and gameplay that came about from the designers just thinking outside the box and trying entirely new concepts, I really cannot emphasize it enough. The level design in Octo Expansion makes Splatoon 1 and 2 take a shit in both of their hands and clap.
Guide the 8-ball, ride the ride rails, just defeat every enemy in the field, bust all the targets, fly the inkjet, calmly break crates in Matchmaker Station. There's so many unique gameplay concepts, they throw out the playbook completely.
And it's so much better for it. You can find bosses chilling while exploring a subway line. The bosses are just remixed versions of Splatoon 2's bosses, but that almost makes sense lore-wise. I promise I'm not coping. Every Octarian you see down here was sanitized, meaning they're essentially walking husks. No vital signs, no personalities, they look dead, they're effectively dead, they want you dead. It's really dark when you think about it for more than 10 seconds, but they needed some way to explain why Octarians wanted another Octoling dead, I guess. So you may as well turn them into horrifyingly unethical zombies. Guess your back was really up against the wall on that one, Nintendo, huh?
Even if the bosses weren't the best part of this game, but they were still good, don't get me wrong, I can show you the actual best part of this game. Watch this.
That's Iso Padre, who is not the best part of this game objectively, but he is to me, okay? Agent 8 lost their memories in the Metro, but they can collect them by clearing stages. Each stage has a memcake, and each memcake has a poem attached, and collecting every memcake along a subway line nets you some gear from every fan's favourite, Iso Padre. Just look at how cool this guy is. Just look. He has like no memories from being stuck in the Metro for so long. It's great. He's doing great, I promise. But his main rewards are multiplayer gear, so snooze. We're talking about the campaign today, Iso Padre. We're not cool anymore. Speaking of which, I wonder how Agent 8's getting along with her fangs. Ah, thankfully, blam! The returning playable character from previous entry trope strikes. Agent 3 is back at the perfect time and unconscious at the unperfect time, but they did leave a conveniently Octoling-shaped hole in the ceiling for us to bust through and start one of the best ending levels ever.
Yeah, okay, maybe that was just a smidge too far.
Escape is essentially an 8-part... How have I only just noticed that? That's genius. But whatever. 8-part mega level where Agent 8 has to find a weapon, sneak through levels, all suspiciously named after human parts, fighting Octolings, dodging lasers, using specials like the inkjet as demonstrated in previous levels. All of your knowledge is put to the test, which is part of my essential list of requirements for good final levels. It's already perfect. And then, you are not gonna believe this. Agent 3, your Agent 3, has been brainwashed. Partially sanitized by this funky goo that was controlling the mysterious telephone the entire time. It's just you and your previous self, ready to go at it. Winner takes all. Everything's on the line. It's all come down to this. I've done this bit one too many times in my life. I beat Agent 3 in the time it took to get this point out.
See, it's weird because you hear so much talk about the inner Agent 3 boss fight, a tough as nails end of game reward for beating all the levels in the game and collecting all the memcakes, that I have no intention of beating anytime soon because I do not have the minerals for that. But you still have the actual Agent 3 boss fight in the game, and you go and play that and it's like, oh, that was a little underwhelming. But still, the returning protagonist trope reigns supreme and will never be beaten. You are f***ing kidding me.
Part 8. Turf War. We finally make it to the surface. Look at the sunset for the first time over Inkopolis Square. Parla Marina finally make an appearance in designs that dunk on their old ones. They fit their personalities so much better in my opinion. We get picked up, everything seems normal until Statue of Liberty 2.0, blam. Did you know the real life Statue of Liberty can do this? It's true, I was the Octoling playing Turf War.
Turf War. Literal turf war. We get 3 minutes to detonate each hyperbomb planted by Marina onto the NILS statue. Yeah, sorry to disappoint, it's not the Statue of Liberty. Or Inkling Life and the world as we know it will be destroyed. So just a smidge higher stakes compared to Splatoon 2. You know? But the entire sequence is just that Rainmaker trope I was talking about earlier with Splatoon 2 up to the max. Turf War intro graphics, Turf War intro music, Turf War time limits, Turf War graphics, everything. It looks like Turf War pulled out of the multiplayer and it just works so well. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just, oh, it makes me so happy. but I know I need someone here to listen.
Upon completion of the campaign, you get the cutest face ever made, the Octoshop replica in multiplayer, and the long-requested ability to play as Octolings in multiplayer. What a fitting set of rewards for such a great campaign. Octo Expansion is everything I wanted from Splatoon 2, which, as much as I've been kind of dogpiling on Splatoon 2 throughout this entire section, doesn't mean both can't coexist. Octo Expansion does away with the perceived rulebook of Splatoon campaigns, and instead gives us a very rapid, very different evolution. But there's still value in the classic level exploration and level design of 1 and 2. There's a middle ground here, 100%, and while I much prefer Octo Expansion to 2, they've just got to find that middle ground, and we could be looking at an all-timer game.
Oh, what the f***? You've been alive playing Angry Birds the entire time?
What's up, man?
Why not just re-enter my house? You live here, apparently. I've been panicking through Octo Expansion the entire time.
So, I've been taking some time to think about what happened, and you know, Dylan, I'm sorry for brushing you just like that, man.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Falling a story really changes a guy.
Well, thanks, dude. I'm sorry for yelling at you earlier. I shouldn't have done that. And for pushing you out my window. And for not coming sooner. Wait, am I a bad friend?
That's cool, dude. I'm also everything Splatoon blows the entire time. Everything rocks, man.
Oh, you are f***ing joking.
I survived the 5-year wait for Splatoon 3 and all I got was this lousy shirt. Splatoon 3 is the complete opposite of all previous entries. It's also the combination of all previous entries. For example, instead of being made in a blink, it was actually made in a normal amount of time. But good things come to those who wait, clearly, because the first teaser for the game was shown at the end of a Nintendo Direct on February 17th, 2021. And it took the game until September 19th, 2022 to release. But like I said, a long wait is clearly worth it because what we got was immense. Built off of Splatoon 2's final Splatfest Chaos vs. Order, we're moved away from Inkopolis entirely and enter the Splatlands, a hellish, chaotic, Mad Max style world where somehow everyone lives in peace and no one kills each other, including newscasters Shiver, Fry and Big Man.
Okay, on 3. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Big Man!
What
Oh
the
my
f***
God,
is wrong with you?
Shiver, really?
This guy,
Dude, Shiver sucks lame.
Shiver, Fry, Big Man. I'm starting to sense an odd one out in this group and I vote to kill him. Shiver is an Octarian, Fry is an Inkling, Big Man is a fat-ass manta ray, and together they make up Deep Cut. Yada yada yada, they run the news, the Great Zapfish is missing, someone has to move it off of the most recognisable landmark in whatever city it's in. There's a creepy old man in the sewer and I have a strong urge to go follow him.
Dude, you would die first in any horror movie ever.
This does all seem like it's setting up basically the same campaign as Splatoon 1 and 2, and it'll stay that way for a while, with a now retired Captain Cuttlefish recruiting us as the new Agent 3 and leading us around the crater. But trust me, this is all deception. You can tell because of this little mutt following me around. Meet Lil Buddy. He's your salmonoid companion that becomes the best throwable in the entire game. Throw him at enemies, they're rendered useless. Throw him at buttons, they activate. Throw him at fuzzy U's, it's gone. He acts as both a projectile in combat, a puzzle solving tool, and a way to progress and clear areas in the environment. He's so multi-purpose, like the Swiss Army knife of Splatoon.
You know what'd be funny? If I had a real knife on me this like the entire time.
Do you?
But after slumming it out with Cuttlefish and the standard levels for a bit, we get our first big plot twist. Octavio is back. Already. He has a more mech style boss fight, but it's the same deal. Shoot back the fist, shoot up Octavio, fall through the floor, oh. A fuzzy ooze tendril steals Cuttlefish and we're stripped of some of our power. But we get to meet Calamri and the captain, so worth it. Agent 3, our Agent 3, is now the captain, but still the same lovable, silly mute protagonist as before. Calamri, completely unchanged, but all four of us realize we need to find Cuttlefish, so time to journey around Alterna to find this old guy again.
Let me get this straight. I lived on Splatoon 1, 2, died, Octo Expansion, and Cuttlefish is still kicking it.
They took your advice.
Let's talk about Alterna, by the way. It's actually stunning. Compared to the usual scenery of Octo Valley and Canyon, it's such a welcomed visual change that all seamlessly moves into one another. And it's a polar opposite of the Splatlands too. Those were warm, this is cold. It's snowy and has frozen ice. This isn't a hard concept to grab. Scattered around these frozen islands are kettles. This progression system returns from Octo Valley and Canyon. Only this ends up being a prime example of how Splatoon 3 combines the best pieces of Octo Expansion and the previous two games. There are kettles and you have to go hunting for them, but they aren't all required like in 1 and 2. Instead, only the golden kettles are required because they have 0 entry fee to get into.
We get a nice best of both worlds this way. You can either go and explore all the levels and experience the cool ideas they ended up putting into this, or you can just full steam ahead to the ending. Either works.
Level design, by the way, another shining example of how to do the best of both worlds. There are a few run and gun levels that feel more like traditional Splatoon, but plenty of Octo Expansion inspired wacky concepts that all work so well. It really feels like the culmination of the previous 3 campaigns, and I'm so glad it ended up like this. I really think everyone, no matter what style of Splatoon they prefer, can walk away from this happy. Me included, because they brought back the weapon kit system from Octo Expansion. God, that brings me so much joy. It was clearly a perfect system because they changed absolutely nothing everything about it. Pick between 1 to 3 weapons, each give a certain amount of points as a reward. It's a great balance between configuring levels to be beaten with every weapon and only choosing one specific kit to force players into.
You will use a bamboozler in this level.
Kill yourself!
One thing that I also really appreciate about each site is how they're all seamlessly connected to one another. It really helps prepare me for massive shark and crazy with eels. Deep Cut are villains? No, not really. They're vigilantes and only oppose New Agent 3 because they've been looting Alterna to sell goods and donate them money. And each member gets their own boss fight too. Friday an easy win. The eel attacks are a little annoying, but ultimately I liked both bosses about the same. It's the big mans I want to talk about. This is a Super Mario Sunshine reference. We all know this by now, and that's really cool. But what they don't tell you about this boss is how easy it is. He's the last one before Grizz's rocket, and they expect me to struggle with attacks like this?
Wait, who's Mr. Grizz?
I've been speaking for 30 minutes, I knew I'd forget something.
Remember that Salmon Run game mode I was talking about? Those salmonoids that wouldn't be important later on? The company you work for, Grizzco, is run by a mysterious figure known as Mr. Grizz. We don't know anything about him in Splatoon 2, but in 3 it all comes out in the wash. He's an actual living, breathing mammalian bear that crash landed back on Earth, and he wants to return it to its former glory, full of mammals and humans and like normal looking fish and whatnot. So he created Fuzzy Ooze, a weird substance that turns us into mammals, using the golden eggs we collected in Salmon Run, and wants to fire it at Inkopolis. From space! Surprise, surprise, Grizz kidnapped Cuttlefish way back in the intro, and while we use the bits and bobs we collected from each site to try and rescue him, we're too late, and Grizz blasts off while Cuttlefish is left dehydrated on the ground. God, I'm sorry, this has just been stupidest shit ever, look at him.
Then the captain just revives him with a tear and he looks like this now. Funniest shit I've ever seen.
Splatoon 3 is kind of bonkers, as I'm about to demonstrate. Here's a clip of me riding a shark into space on a bunch of eels with a spacesuit gifted to me by some manta ray. Is God real? I don't know. How do we make it to space from Alterna, which is underground? Who cares? Here's one of the best final boss themes ever. Here's one of the sickest phase 2s ever. Grizz nearly gets the better of us by blasting us into space, but DJ Octavio, yes, DJ Octavio catches us just in time. Final boss turned final boss again, turned intro boss, turned unlikely ally. I love this series. I love this saga so much. Grizz is still getting ready to fire all the Fuzzy Ooze back at Inkopolis though, and it's up to us to stop him. We get to pilot the Octobot through space, fighting back against all of Grizz's attacks to destroy him and the Fuzzy Ooze once and for all.
Hold on. How can the bear breathe in space and not the Inklings?
Fuzzy Ooze.
And that's pretty much the game. After Alterna, I have PTSD.
The level is hard as f*** and it features one of the most challenging Octilling fight segments right at the end. But that's Splatoon 3 wrapped.
Go through that one quick, huh?
Yeah, well, you talk about like 3 different entries before this, you don't want to overstate any of your points, you know?
How many times can I truly say this level design is fantastic? Not enough. Splatoon 3, once again, is the pinnacle of this series. It takes everything good about Octo Valley, everything good about Octo Canyon, and applies those onto the experimentation from the Deep Sea Metro. It's the perfect blend. Everybody eats. One Direct mentioned that this was the
epic finale of this Splatastic saga.
So I assume when we inevitably get a Splatoon 4, we'll be starting a whole new plotline with all new characters and tropes and whatnot. And I'm not ready for it. In all seriousness though, if this does serve as a swan song for Cuttlefish, Calamri, Agent 3 and everyone else that made this series so, not you, wonderful, it was fitting. The best levels, the best progression, the best villains, the best redemption arc for Octavio, the best captain, the best Cuttlefish kidnapping, the fact that that's actually like an option to be the best of, Jesus Christ. The best Marie design, come fight me over that. The best story, arguably. I think it's been long enough to stop pretending that this is recency bias on my part and admit that Splatoon is probably one of Nintendo's greatest series, and Splatoon 3 is the absolute crown jewel of it.
And we still haven't spoken about Splatoon 3's DLC yet, or the amiibo challenges, or hell, I could go into multiplayer if you really want me to.
Dude, do you ever have a day off?
Yeah, you're right, I should probably call him back up for this.
Hi.
Jesus Christ,
I
how
want
many
to talk about
times?
Splatoon, but I've kind of worn Birch Goebbels out at this point, so you got a tag team. Come on, sit down, we're gonna get talking.
Not a chance, not feeding into your delusions.
Okay, I knew the Splatoon obsession was bad enough, but delusions?
My ghost tracking app went off super hard earlier. Just put 2 and 2 together.
I think I know what to do. And it's not going to be pretty.
There's no way.
Okay, in your defense, it wasn't the fall that killed him, it was the garbage truck.
What the f-
Wow. That was fucking dog shit.
I know, right? What a waste of a season.
So we agree, right? That was fucking horrendous.
I know, right? I mean, mistakes left and right, ideas being thrown at us every minute. I mean, time travel?
That was the worst! Avengers Endgame did it better, and I fucking hate Avengers Endgame's time travel, dude.
I mean, that villain tease went absolutely nowhere. I mean, ooh, Dylan, you must play Super Mario Kart. You're destined to play shitty
That's a
games.
side B.
You are fucking kidding me.
Nope, no bullshitting. Season 2 is the second side.
Oh, fuck off, man. Another side of this shit.
Like, how many episodes? Ballpark, like, 30?
It was like 25, I think.
However many it ends up being, there's gonna be too fucking many, I tell you that much. Well, probably can't get any worse now, right?
Yeah, I'm in too deep. Way too deep.
Cheers, at least, to another season of this shit.
We don't have any drinks.
Right. Probably would have made this better now that I think about it.